Hey, here I am, and welcome back. My name is Nathan, and if you're into urban sketching, you're in the right place. In this week's video, I'm going to give you a recap and a rundown of my experience at my first ever Urban Sketchers Symposium, which this year was in Toulouse. I'd never been to a symposium before, but I'd seen other people that I follow on YouTube going to these symposiums year after year, and I thought, this is my year, I'm going to go. So, I went. We're going to go through the full process from buying a ticket to the symposium and then how the symposium works. And I'm also going to take you through my sketchbook. I'm going to put chapters in this video, so if you already know this stuff and you just want to get to the sketchbook tour, feel free to skip ahead. I think it was in January when I bought my ticket. Everything goes on sale at the same time worldwide, which fortunately for me here in Spain was around lunchtime. I think the ticket I wanted went on sale at 12:30. There are different tiers or different levels or different tickets, if you will. There is the Sketch Pass, which entitles you to the sketch walks and a demo, I think. Fact check me on that though, I'm not sure. Then there are 4 different levels, I think, of workshops, where you can have 4 workshops, 3 workshops, 2 workshops, and 1 workshop. If you get the 4 workshop pass, which obviously is more expensive, and then they get cheaper as you go and have less workshops. If you buy 4 workshops, you also get another event called the Big Crit, which is where you sketch and all of the workshop leaders are there, and you will get a little one-on-one feedback session with all of them in this Big Crit. When it came to buying a ticket, you have to be super quick. Start refreshing the page before they even release your level of ticket, because they release the Sketch Pass first. Then they release 4, 3, 2, 1 workshops. Personally, I wanted 2 workshops, but literally in the moment it took me to refresh the page, they'd all gone. So I went for 1 workshop, and again, they had all gone, and I thought, that's it, I'm not going to have a ticket. But I just refreshed it a couple of times more, and somebody must have gone to buy a ticket, then something hadn't gone correctly, and the ticket became available again, and I snapped it up. So sorry if I took your ticket. And if you have any of these 4 tickets, you get the opening ceremony and the closing ceremony, plus however many workshops you've paid for, and a demo. So I had 1 workshop, which entitled me to opening, closing, demo, workshop. I did the demo of Kek Hoon Pin, and I did the workshop of Racine Courret. That's basically how you get your ticket. You get a program which tells you what's happening every day. Every morning starts with a briefing at 8:30, I think it was. I didn't make it to any briefings. 8:30 till 9, and then there is a lecture from 9 till 9:30, and then you either have sketch walks, or workshops, or demos, depending on what your personalized schedule is. So there are 2 sketch walks a day. There's a sketch walk in the morning and in the afternoon, and there's also a workshop in the morning and afternoon. So you just need to know your own schedule, which I'll get to it, but you find it on your pass as well. Also, the first sketch walk and the final sketch walk of the week are open to the public. So if you don't have a pass, you can still go and be in the atmosphere and see sketches everywhere. And you can buy a ticket to the opening and closing ceremony if you want. So, what else is there? Oh, also at the end of the day, you have drink and draw, which is in a different bar and restaurant each night. And you can go with whoever you want, go alone, meet people there, whatever, have a drink and have a draw. Oh, also there was a market every morning / early afternoon where you could go and buy all kinds of things. I bought this palette of Rosa Gallery paints. I'll get to that in a minute. But I just wanted to talk about why the symposium is special and why it was special to me. I tried to find out how many people were actually at the symposium. There were 900 tickets sold, but then there was probably double that in people that didn't have tickets as well. So a lot of people. It happens once a year, and it's a great opportunity to meet other sketchers that enjoy doing the same thing that you do. And you all come together, and there's a real sense of community. Everybody was so nice, so kind, so friendly. You can look at other people's work, they can look at yours. You can take inspiration from things that other people are doing. It was just such a lovely, wholesome, really enjoyable experience for me. And people come from all over the world. I met people from Australia, South Africa, Korea, Canada, loads of people from around Europe, France, Spain, Germany, Switzerland, Hungary, Sweden. It was really multinational and really enriching. I just loved every minute of it. And the reason I wanted to go was because I've been urban sketching for a few years now by myself. I haven't been part of a chapter, and I really wanted to go and find my community. And I really think I have. I met some amazing people that I think are going to be friends for life, and I can't wait for the next one, to be honest with you. I will say one thing though, by the end of the week, I was absolutely exhausted, but in a good way. I was exhausted from doing something I love, so can't complain about that, can you? Right, let's get into it. So we all got this lanyard, which I did see somebody do something pretty cool, which I am now going to do as well. Somebody I saw on Instagram, I can't remember who it was now, but they took it and they cut it. So you can hang that on your bag and it's not going to get looped around anything. And it's a nice little memory. So that's what I'm going to do with that. Okay, so here is my sketchbook. Started off with lots of stickers. People just give out stickers. If you're watching this in preparation for the next symposium, take some stickers because everybody has stickers. That's it. Stickers with your Instagram. If you have YouTube, your YouTube, TikTok, whatever. Slap it on there. I thought, why is everyone obsessed with stickers? Fortunately, I just had some made because it was my treat to myself for reaching X amount of subscribers. Everyone's just going mad for the stickers, and I thought,
No. I'm not going to be one of those people.
I am. I'm one of those people. I'm obsessed with stickers now. So here we go. Oh, that was my pass. My workshop pass. So on Thursday morning, I had no workshop, but on Thursday afternoon, I had a demo with Kekun Pin. Then Friday, no workshop, and I had my workshop on Saturday with Roshan Kuri. And this is a little QR code that you can scan throughout the week and it will show you the schedule. And you only get one of those if you have paid for the pass. These are my raffle tickets that I bought. I was desperate to win something and I didn't win anything. I think I bought too early because all of the older numbers seem to be on the top. Anyway, the grand prize was a fully paid pass to the full symposium next year, which is going to be in Toronto, by the way, Toronto. So maybe see you there. So yeah, this is my first page. These are the stamps that were on the stamp desk in the convention center where the main event was held. There were these stamps and you could just stamp your book however you wanted. And I just saw everybody rushing over there. So I thought, oh, I'll rush over there as well. So I sketched some of the supplies that I took with me, which is what everybody does. And I don't have my own ideas, so I did the same. I actually have some of the supplies here. This was the paint kit that I took with me, which is a mix of Winsor & Newton, Daniel Smith, and a couple of Van Gogh in there. But I actually didn't use this very much because I wanted to try out some other palettes. And I took this palette with me, which is from Shinhan Art, and I did use this a lot. I really liked these colors now that I've tested them out even more. I still agree with my previous statement that they are pretty good. And then on the first day before I even started sketching, I went to the Rosa Gallery store in the market. I bought this new palette and I bought all of these colors except this one, I think. This was a new color. I'll get to this a little bit more detail in a minute, but these were a really good deal actually. These pans were €2 each, or if you bought 10, you got them for 18. So I was like, well, I'll have to have 10 then, won't I? I'm so easily convinced. I've got some more stickers here. This was something that came in the goodie bag. Here is the goodie bag. It says Toulouse Urban Sketchers Symposium on it. And this is the mascot of the Toulouse Symposium, which is called Lulu. And then on the back, you have all of the sponsors as well. I did an opening on the goodie bag, a live opening. So if you want to watch that, you can click the link somewhere around here. This is by the Sneaky Artist, and that gave me permission to draw people sneakily. Stuck that in there. I do have some of the things from the goodie bag here, though. There was this color that I got, which is called Nightfall Orange from Rosa Gallery. I think everybody got a different color. We got this set, which is a Toulouse palette. It's got Lulu on there. The colors that came in this palette were indigo greenish, Aquarius violet, nickel azo gold, and the Symposium color. If you want to have a look at the pigment information, there it is, and you can pause the video for that. And then I also got this cobalt green from Renaissance, which I think everybody got a different one there as well. But that's a super cute little palette. And it's metal, you know I like a metal palette. We've got some Daniel Smith colors here that I haven't fully opened yet. I have tested them. This is, what color is this? Rose beige from Kuretake. And then we got a Stillman & Burn sketchbook an Etcher Toulouse 2026 zigzag, which I haven't used yet, an Art Miranda zigzag as well, and this is by Leuch. Anyway, everyone got a different version of this book as well. Oh, what's that in there? Some bumf. It might only be good for like little washes of watercolor, but still. Anyway, here I am sitting outside waiting for the opening ceremony, and I'm aware that the workshop that I'm going to do with Russian Kuri is sketching people fast. So I decided to start practicing that. This is what I came up with. I also decided to write down which supplies I used on each page. So here we've got Lamy Safari, Shinhan Art, and that's it. That's all I used there. Same again, Lamy Safari, Shinhan Art. This was quite funny. I started sketching this guy, and I think I'd got up to like there, and then he left, and I was like, what am I going to do now? So I just kind of made it up, but I think it's okay. Then I got myself into this little swatching phase where I decided I wanted to see what all of my new Rosa Gallery colors looked like. So these are the ones that I bought, apart from Nightfall Orange, which came in the bag. So I swatched those, and then I decided, let's swatch the Roman Smalls ones. Roman Small. I can never say it right. So this is these 4 colors here. The Cobalt Green by Renaissance. I did just swatch these Daniel Smith colors out of the tube, which are Naples Orange, Ultramarine Turquoise, and Quinacridone Rose. Very nice. I really like this, the Rose Beige. I didn't use it throughout the symposium because I didn't have space to put it anywhere. But that would have been really good for like some of the buildings, along with the symposium color, which I presume has been mixed because it resembles the color of the city. I swatched my Shinhan Art colors. They're very nice and vibrant as well. And then these are the ones in my black tin. So, swatched everything, went to bed late. I was swatching these, and that's why I forgot to put my phone on charge, which is why I missed the briefing and the lecture the next day. Now then, I went on the first sketch walk on the first day, and I felt like I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to try and prove myself as an urban sketcher or something. So these aren't my favorite sketches. I'm looking back on them now with much kinder eyes, but I don't know. What was in my mind didn't translate to the paper, and I think it's because I was trying too hard instead of just letting it flow and being myself. I don't know. I got in my own head and I was overthinking. Anyway, I sketched the Chapelle San Joseph de la Grave? I don't know. Lamy Safari Rosa Gallery. And I sat there with Nora Tries Art, and I thought that her name was Nora. Because it was Nora Tries Art. I thought she must be Nora Smith Tries Art, for example. That's her Instagram handle, by the way, Nora Tries Art. But her name's Sharon. And Nora's is Sharon backwards. I don't know why she did that. I'm talking to you, Sharon. I know you watch. I started sticking people's stickers in here. This is where I started getting kind of into my sticker phase. They have their Instagrams on and whatever. Decided to try and do another quick sketch of this guy who was sat kind of near this doorway, actually. So this is, I don't know how you pronounce this in Spanish. How do you, in Spanish, in French. I'm going to Google it. Place. Okay. So this was Place de Jacobins. Oh, my French, terrible. Place de Jacobins. And here was the first time I've ever used my polychroma pencils, which I used on top of watercolors. I painted watercolor first, like a loose wash, and then I drew on top with a blue Micron fine liner. And then I used the colored pencils, the polychromos, to add some more details. And it's the first time I've ever done that. But I thought, hey, I'm at the symposium, let's try something new. I will explore that some more. I have enjoyed using colored pencils with my watercolor at the symposium. This one is starting to look more my style, but it doesn't really look like the building that I was sketching. But I was starting to feel like I had warmed up a little bit. Everything I used to sketch this was actually from the bag. So I used the Roman Schmalz kit and a fine liner from Mangaka. Then when we had finished the sketchbook, there was a big throwdown in the Capitol Square. And it was huge, and it was hot. Then that afternoon I had my workshop with Kek Hoon Pin, and I have since started using his name, Hoon, as a adjective, a noun, and a verb. So I'm hooning my sketch, or my sketch doesn't look very hoon. Here is an example of his work. This is his sticker that he had. If you want to follow him on Instagram, his Instagram is The Art of Hoon, and you can see the style of his sketches. I tried to implement what I had seen him do in the demo in this sketch. Although I don't think he really does park scenes like this. I think it is normally more urban and more buildings. But myself and Kim had missed the start of the sketch walk. We tried to find them, we couldn't find them, we ended up in this park. Anyway, I tried to get this kind of drippy feeling that we have from Hoon, and I actually really like how that turned out. I only used coloured pencils and watercolour, nothing else. So it's Daniel Smith and polychromos. We did eventually find people for the throwdown, which was in front of the museum. I can't remember what the museum was called, but this giant figure, that is the name of this statue, was in front of the museum. I think we had about 15 minutes to spare, so I quickly sketched that. And again, I used the Roman schmalz. And I really like how the watercolour all merged and played together with that. I didn't go to the drink and draw this evening. I was absolutely exhausted. Another page of stickers. This sticker, well, actually, this is a stamp by Roots and Ruin, who I met there. And she also made these little, well, large stamps with a stamp in it to give away. Because I went to this museum with her, I asked her to paint one in my sketchbook for me. So she did, which was very kind of her. And then the next day, I went with Roots and Ruin and Sketchy Stacks. I went with them to this museum, Halle de la Machine, or Hall of the Machine. So I skipped the briefing and I skipped the lecture and I skipped the morning sketch walk to go to this museum with those two. And they had this massive, well, lots of massive machines, but they had this massive Minotaur that you could ride on. And I am going to say, don't bother riding the Minotaur if you go to this museum, because you can't see it when you're on it. It's much more impressive to watch it walking along in front of you. So I sketched the Minotaur here. He had these big blue eyes, and we even asked the museum to give us a little stamp. So we have a stamp of the Minotaur here. And then this was another machine that moves. This is a big spider called Ariane. And again, a stamp there, but that looks more like a pumpkin than a spider because of this bit around the bottom. Again, I've written down which supplies I used for these sketches. I really was intimidated by this, but I really quite like how it's turned out. I think it's quite cool. And I think actually I did, yes. I even went on top of that with some polychromos, so I should write that down actually. Polychromos. I added that in after the fact. So is it really urban sketching if I continued at home? I don't know. That afternoon, we went back and I did go on the sketch walk and I collected some more stickers here. Some people didn't have stickers, but they had cards. So I used other people's stickers to stick those into the book. Then we went to Esquirol, is the area that was Esquirol. I tried to Hoon again, and I think I've been a little bit more successful this time with the Hoon style. Someone also said it's got a bit of an Ian-friendly vibe with the slanty building here and the colours that I chose. But I was actually trying to be inspired by Hoon. So I used the polychromos and I used the Shinhan Arts again, and I tried to let it drip down. But I just couldn't not use ink. So I went on top of the Micron and the Lamy Safari. And I like it. I want to explore this a bit more. I would probably like the colours to be a little bit brighter and a little bit punchier, but I do like it. More stickers. I love this one. How cool is that sticker? I think she's so fun. Now this was it's like a film strip, a plastic film strip, and that was given to me by Roots and Ruin by Lily. And I wanted to do like 3 little scenes of the cathedral. I held it up behind the page and kind of traced these rectangles, and then I did a mini sketch inside each one. So we put the bell tower, the clock, and oh, I've just realized actually, I think the clock, that shouldn't have sky behind it. Oh well, never mind. And that is the big stained glass window. I haven't written down which colours I used. Right, where's the Lamy? This was a Micron, and I think it was Roman. I'm going to keep the pen out now. More stickers. And then I did go to the drink and draw. I actually went to the drink and draw with Patricia and Jean-Michel, and I was trying to sketch people again while we were having a drink, just to practice, because I knew the next day I had my workshop. And for someone who doesn't sketch people very often, if at all, I actually think this looks quite cute. I did a little bit of writing next to them, give them some personality. Some people didn't have stickers, but they had flyers, so I stuck the flyers in there. This was the drink I had at the drink and draw, which was a Saint-Germain Spritz, and it was not good. It was really, really sweet. I didn't like it at all. But obviously I drank it. I'm not going to throw my money away. Then, here we go, next day. I made it to the brief. No, I didn't make it to the briefing, I'm lying. I made it to the lecture, and the lecture was, it was reporting bit by bit, I think it was called. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, it was really interesting. And it was this lady from Silicon Valley. Oh, I'm so annoyed, I can't remember her name right now. I'm going to find out, I'm going to write it down here. Was talking, and she was showing some of her sketches and talking about her sketches where she was reporting things. So she started off by sketching the old signs of Silicon Valley that were from like a time before it was called Silicon Valley. And then she moved on to another series called Faces of Recovery, where she was sketching people who were recovering from some kind of addiction or abuse or homelessness and writing their story around the sketch. It was really, really good. It was really inspiring. Then I had my workshop with Roshan Curry. Finally, we get to the workshop. Now, I love Roshan Curry and I love what she does, but I found this so difficult. The first part, I felt like I got on quite well with. Here, she gave us some recipes. She gave us 30 minutes to run into a market and sketch as many of these ingredients as we could find. And I was like, 30 minutes is not a lot when you're running around trying to find things and then sketch them and add colour and add shadows. So I managed my duck wings, duck fat, white wine, cherry tomatoes, and shallots. What can I make with that? Something delicious, I think. So that part, I was like, okay, yes, I'm on board. Then we had to sketch as many people as we could in an hour, and that just stressed me out. So I'm not particularly pleased with these sketches of people. Although, again, I'm looking back on them with much kinder eyes. Then I added some text in there to try and distract from the fact that I didn't like what I had created. This was a man buying cheese. This was a man at a stall that nobody was buying anything. These two were having a drink, and I couldn't work out if they were lovers or friends or colleagues. I had no idea. And then, here's some of Roshin's sketches. Some more people here. Roshin said she actually loved that I had this person in the background here. But that's somebody who I started to sketch and then just gave up on. But she liked it, so I pretended that I meant to do it. There's another sticker here, and he had a stamp as well. More of the... Turn around for you. More of the workshop, sketching people. Again, I really didn't like this at the time, but I like it much more now looking back. At the time, I think maybe I was just a bit tired, exhausted, and I was finding this difficult. Nothing to do with Roshin herself, by the way, I want to make that clear. I just found this style very hard because it's very different from what I do. This was the final sketch I did from the workshop, and it's probably my least favourite of everything I've done in this sketchbook, actually. I just found it so hard. But I do have this to look back on. This is the handout that Roshin gave us during the workshop. More stickers. And then on the afternoon sketch walk, I decided to go and sit down and really take my time and really sketch something as a little treat for myself for working so hard and failing so miserably in the morning. So this is the Basilica of Saint-Germain, and this might be one of my favourite sketches I've ever done. I don't normally sketch in so much detail, but I've really enjoyed doing that, and I really like the result, and I think I must push myself to do more of that. And I really like my use of white space, actually, also. So I'm going to try and develop this style a little bit more. Here we have, oh, this was a dot sheet that Rose Gallery gave out at the market. And you could paint on here and enter a competition or a raffle if you took a picture and uploaded it. But I did this too late and I only did a cola bottle anyway, so I doubt I would have won. Here is the map of Toulouse, just in case I ever go back. I can find... Oh, it's upside down. Oh no, I've stuck it in upside down. Oh, well, never mind. After all of the week's activities, there was the closing ceremony where they had a raffle, which, as you remember, I did not win anything. And they announced that next year's symposium is in Toulouse. No, it's just been Toulouse. The next year's symposium is in Toronto. So you had some drinks vouchers and there was some canapes and you could just socialize, look at each of the sketchbooks. There was a silent auction as well. You could submit something to be auctioned off and all of that money goes to Urban Sketchers because it is a non-profit organization. And that's it. That was a wrap on the week. And I was absolutely exhausted. I had sketch fatigue, but I still managed to do one more sketch the next day of this boat, which was near Pont-Neuf. And again, I started sketching it and then it sailed away. So I had to do some of it from memory. But I like this. This is my first time really trying to get some reflections in water that looks realistic. And I like how that's turned out. Now, one little treat. Actually, I forgot about this. I met somebody from the Monterey chapter of Urban Sketchers, and not everybody from that chapter could come to Toulouse because, you know, it's so far away. So they brought little postcards that other members of their chapter had sketched. I'm going to turn this way up. Stuck some things in the wrong way around, haven't I? And you could choose one. And then there's a little message from the artist. Saludos desde entrada del Museo Marco en Ciudad Monterrey, en el México. Escultura La Paloma. It's a statue of a pigeon, and it's at the entrance of the museum in their city. And they've given me all of their Instagrams as well. So I have followed that lady, and I've said, hope to see you in Toronto. That's it. I have talked an awful lot. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for staying with me. And please, if you've liked this video, as always, give it a like, leave me a comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.